Good morning, hello, and welcome to Behind the Bower, where we hope to offer inspiring conversations, a fresh look at arts in our community, and provide spotlights on artists, performers, collaborative partners, and organizations. We want to celebrate the universal expression of human experience through arts, culture, and community. I'm your host today, Lauren Hood, Program Coordinator for Bower Center for the Arts, and today we're going to talk about the importance of art in the classroom and how you can encourage young artists in your life. Did you know that students who study art are 4 times more likely to be recognized for academic achievements and 3 times more likely to be awarded for school attendance? Beyond just encouraging students to grow academically, art has shown to improve student emotional and behavioral development. The fine arts can give students a sense of community, help with self-awareness and self-esteem, improve critical thinking, and reduce anxiety, depression, and stress. With me are 3 of our very own Bedford County Public School art educators. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm very excited to have you all on today because I know how important you are and what you do for our community is just so vital. So I'm glad to be able to talk with y'all and have you share your stories. And also, I just love talking about art and education and how important it is throughout the students' lives at all ages. So we are going to start with some introductions. So we'll start right here. And if you just want to tell us your name, what school you teach at, and who your biggest inspiration is.
All right. I'm Stephanie, and I teach at Bedford Primary and at Montville. So I'm between 2 different schools. They're very different. So at one school, I have pre-K up into 5th grade, and then at the other school, it's just primary. So I've got all the little ones, kindergarten and 1st grade. And as far as my inspiration, that's so hard because I get motivated and inspired in different areas for different things. My mom's definitely an inspiration. She's an overcomer. So she's amazing. In the arts, Frida Kahlo is absolutely amazing. Just hearing her story and the trial and tribulations that she had to go through and how art was what got her through because she was, held in the bed and after her accident and had to lay flat for a very, very long time while she was healing. So that was awesome how she had the mirror and painting. So that's really cool. And of course, Taylor Swift and how she reinvented herself over and over and over. So, so definitely those.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I'm Mary Ann, and I am the art teacher at Bedford Elementary. So I have 2nd grade through 5th grade. So I get to know the kids for quite a while and just see how they grow throughout the years. The biggest inspiration question was really hard to think about because there's just so many. But honestly, I think one of my college professors is probably my biggest one because she's the one who kind of steered me in the direction that I ended up taking. Because when I first went, I thought I wanted to teach English, and that is totally not what would have fit best for my life. So definitely, I think Owens is the biggest inspiration with where I am today.
I love that. Yeah.
Good morning. I'm Sally O'Donnell. I teach at Forest Elementary and I teach at Otter River Elementary. I have students K through 5. I've been at Forest for 16 years, and I've been teaching in the art program for 10. Wow. The inspiration question, as everyone stated, was a difficult one. But then when it really boiled down to it, I really feel like the students are what the inspiration is for me, because when they walk into the classroom and say, "What are we going to do today?" "Oh, Miss O'Donnell, you're the coolest. That's so great. Where did you learn how to do that?" Those kind of things inspire me to the next night go and find a really neat project that's going to speak to them so that I get those same comments the next week when I'm writing my lesson plans. So really, it's the kids.
Yeah. Wow, those are awesome. I love all your inspirations. Those were great. So tell me a little bit about what got you into art. Like, what was your first experience? If anybody wants to start.
I'm just done art forever. Like growing up, I was the one who would sit in a corner and doodle things and color things and just make anything I could out of trash. Like I'd recycle anything I could find and turn it into something. And then I'd make all these crazy things and give to family members and, "Oh, I made this for you." And sometimes it was like, "Yeah, we're going to look at that for 2 days and then it's gone." But just creating things was so much fun.
Yeah.
I always wanted to be a teacher from the get-go. I put my little sister in front of a desk, and I made her play school for hours. That poor kid. um, and I just wanted to be a teacher. But on the side, I also, like as Marianne said, loved to make things. I lived on a farm, and we had chicken eggs, and we had this and that, and so you know how you can blow out the yolk and create some. I was making all kinds of things like that. So then, as an adult, I got my teaching position. I'm a regular education elementary major, and I've taught all grades but fourth. And I was very happy teaching, but I also implemented in my classroom lots of activities, projects that would go along with what we were studying, but were on the art spectrum. And I kind of paired a lot with our art teacher then, who was Donna Handy. And if you want to go back to maybe the inspiration question, she probably was somebody who really inspired me to say, you really need to do this. You enjoy what you're doing. And so I think that's being the regular education teacher, but being able to do the art part has been wonderful, and I love my position.
As far as for me, like Marianne said, even from the time I was little, I was always doodling or drawing, and instead of maybe listening to the math, I was drawing flowers and hearts all over my papers. So definitely working with my hands a lot. I did a lot of the handmade gifts growing up. Even as an adult, a lot of the gifts that I give are handmade, homemade. As far as more so the visual art aspect, because as a little kid in elementary school, I never had art. I wasn't exposed to art in the classroom until I was in middle school.
Wow.
It wasn't offered in our elementary school. But in the visual art aspect, when I was about 17, 18 years old, I lived in New York City. I worked in the modeling industry for a little bit. So I got to be exposed more to arts and fashion and design. And that's when I fell in love with like design, and I did a lot of styling and stuff like that. So it's kind of been there.
Yeah. I love that. Sally kind of talked about this a little bit, but did y'all always want to be an educator or an art educator? Why or why not?
Well, as I said, I always wanted to be an educator. I can remember my elementary teachers at the end of the school year, they would have all those extra worksheets and workbooks and packets and all that kind of stuff that they would throw away. And I would come home with my bag stuffed with that stuff. And that's when my poor sister had to sit and do lessons while I would teach. So yeah, it's always been what I wanted to do.
I also always wanted to be a teacher. Just like Stephanie said too, like art was not in my elementary school. It was not until secondary that they started to offer that. So I didn't even know that was an option because I was like, I'm not that good. I couldn't do high school. There's no way. So, going through college, I was like, I'm going to teach English. And then I'm like, no, I'm going to be a gen ed teacher. And that's what my degree was teaching first grade is where I started. And then the opportunity came up when someone retired of an art position. And I'm like, okay. And the principals even, they were like, here, you should do this because you're always making all these extra projects. You should do this. And it has been the biggest blessing, the best decision ever. Like, it's amazing. I love seeing every kid in the building and getting to know them. And there's nothing else I would rather do.
Yeah.
So I'm like the oddball. My degrees actually went to school for counseling. So I have a psychology background, counseling background, and it's not really in the arts. But I wanted to do, I'm one of the career swinging. So I came out of business and psychology counseling and swinging into education. Just kind of felt that's where I was being called to go into. I did a long-term subbing position at Bedford Primary for a kindergarten teacher. And that's where I fell in love with being in the classroom, like just getting to work with the children and And then all the things we did on Fridays were art projects. And so even though they were getting art, I was still doing extra art and extra fun stuff in there. And then that summer, because the long-term position had ended and I was working towards getting my provisional license, by some miracle, an art position opened up, and it was actually offered to someone else. And so I was a little sad. I was like, oh, that would have been so awesome.
Yeah.
And by that miracle, the lady turned down the job 2 days later, and the principal called and she's like, hey, the art spot, I think we're going to give it to you, because they had to go with the licensed teacher first, but with being like provisional. And so that's what got me into the art spot. And I just pray that I'm never told or asked to leave, because it is the absolute best job in the world. It's the best. Like, I literally drive to work and I'm like, I cannot believe this is my job.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so happy. The kids are so happy. It's so good. And it's such a rewarding job.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. That's really awesome to hear, because I know that, just jobs in general, that a lot of times people drive to their job and they're like, dang, I got to do it again. But like to hear educators be like, I love my kids, I love my job, like this is what I'm called to do, and I feel so excited every day that I get to go like do these things. That's really, really awesome to hear. That y'all feel that way. If you could just talk about a moment in your career that made you go like, wow, like this has made it worth all of it.
I think when you have the student who is in trouble in reading class and math class and spends most of their time in the principal's office and unhappy at school, but they come into art and sit down. I can't do this, going to rip up their paper. Mm-hmm. And then you get to sit with them kind of one-on-one, because everyone's working on their project. And you make some connections with them. Oh, you had a basketball game this weekend? How many points did you score? That's really cool. I remember when my son played against that team. And you start to make some connections, and you start to see them they're not bristled up anymore. And they create some beautiful work, and people come in and make comments, and you can just see them, they change completely. Mm-hmm. To me, those moments are yeah, this is exactly why I like this job.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I like when the students that sometimes struggle getting to school every morning, and the parents are like, come on, you got to go. And when they find out that, oh, it's Wednesday, it's my art day, they're like, oh, I'm not going to miss today. I'm going to be there. So that motivates them to get up, get going, and get out of the car without protesting. Mm-hmm. And so that's always exciting to be like, oh, they want to be here. They want to do something. Yeah. So that's kind of, exciting my wow, I guess, each day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I think mine are very similar. Like, from having the counseling background in psychology, being able to implement that in the classroom when you see a child that is struggling and kind of working through them with stuff, or when you have a student that you've had previously the year before and they're like, remember this, Mr. Yoakum, you taught us this last year, and look, I'm doing this now, and just seeing that information still being retained, and that they're implementing it, or getting messages from the parents on a Sunday, and they're like, hey, Miss Yoakum, my daughter wanted me to send you this because she wanted you to see the art. So just that it's trickling into their life outside of school and into the next year, and that they remember it and stuff is really awesome.
Yeah. No, I think that really flows into our next question of like, why do you think the arts are important in education? Because I know that too, you talked about that the arts were not available in your elementary school, which is, I was fortunate enough to have that. And so like, I didn't even think that was an option, you know what I mean? And so like, that is just absolutely crazy that, that's something that you were not given. So why do you think the arts are important in education today for all ages?
Well, I think it's important because not every student is an athlete or not the smartest in math or, English or whatever, you know, like everyone has their different talents.
Mhm.
And so having the art as an option for them that early lets them see that it's okay that I can't shoot every hoop in the basketball goal, because they have their area to shine too.
Yeah.
And so it gives them that outlet to show what they're capable of. And also the outlet to express themselves. You know, everyone has their different voice to go and to show what they really like or what they're interested in. And so it's their chance to say, hey, this is the things I like. I'm going to show it to you.
Bouncing off from that, so I'm doing a couple projects right now where they're weaving and they're having to use yarn, and some of my boys are like, Miss Odie, this is for girls. We don't want to do this, and you know they're kind of carried on. And so after the last playoff game for football, I said, "Did y'all watch that football game?" And they were like, yeah, there were some great catches. And I said, did you see how they had to watch that ball coming in and how they had to catch it in their hands and they had to have that eye-hand coordination? And then I talked about one of the basketball games that weekend and I said, did you see how they have to flip their wrist and use their fingers to make that, how many points they scored? And they were like, yeah, but what's this got to do with this weaving project? And I said, think about how we're having to use our fingers and our eyes and weave and have control, those fine motor skills. And they were like, oh, well, yeah. And after that, I didn't have a single moan, groan, or whatever. And some of those boys' work was better than some of the girls.
Yeah.
But being able to, you know, let them see that, yeah, it can affect every, you know, part of my life. And then you have some of the other girls who they can't shoot a basket and they can't, you know, but they're doing ballet and they're doing dance. Well, they need to have those motor skills too. And so being able to relate that to all of them and then having them see that, I love that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I agree with both of them. I feel that if I would have had art in elementary school, I probably would have done better in my other subjects. It would have given my brain a break and so much stuff like that, and given an outlet. And in that classroom, I mean, they just light up when they have just had a test in history and then they're exhausted. But then sometimes I'll be like, you guys, you can just have free draw time and let's just decompress, and just watching their tension and stress level just kind of mellow out. But I think it's critical in education because there is nowhere that you can go that there's not art.
Right.
Nowhere.
Yeah.
So in hospitals and in here, even in this room, there's art. And so it's something that's intertwined everywhere. And like Marianne said, not everybody's good at basketball or not everybody's good at math or different things. And so we need art. We need it.
Yeah. 100% agree. 100%.
The kids need art.
Yeah.
With the pressure that they have,
Yes.
with the testing and the benchmarking and all of this that's required of us, those kids need an outlet. And sometimes taking them outside and sitting there and drawing the tree and the sun is on your back and the wind is blowing and you see them go back into the classroom a totally different mentality than when they walked in. And you know that they're going to be able to learn or pay attention or make it through the rest of the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Plus, like, I know secondary may use more computers and things with their artwork, but at our level, it is very hands-on. There's a lot of manipulatives, those fine motor skills that Sally was talking about. Whereas in the classroom, they're using their Chromebooks a lot. They're staring at these screens. They're sitting still.
They've got that swipe movement down.
Right. But when you ask them to use scissors, a lot of them are turning them. And so it's focusing back on those fine motor skills of how to use these everyday tools.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
With parents being busy at home, many of them working several jobs to maintain, the lifestyle that they need, they don't have time to offer the cutting up the magazines and the Play-Doh. And I brought Play-Doh out the other day, and it was to lead into another project that we were doing, and they were like, "Oh, we never get Play-Doh at home. My mom won't let us have Play-Doh.
Oh.
They had the best time with that $1.25 jar of Play-Doh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to kind of lead into that, another thing is I work at Title I schools, so that's very low income families, and I had a student last year who had never used a marker. I mean, so like if you think about that, a Crayola marker, he did not know that the lid came off of the marker and that would scribble and color onto the paper. So exposing children who may not have ever been exposed in their home to being able to make something beautiful because they don't have the tools and stuff that's available to them is really something.
Yeah.
Once a month, I like to put a box full of junk, if you will, but I'll also put different materials like a hole punch, a tape dispenser, a roll of tape, and other different things, and then say, what can you build with this? Show me what you can build. And the first few times, they didn't want to do this because, well, I want you to cut that tape for me. I don't know how to use that hole punch. What does this do? And I really just put my hands up and said, go try it. Go figure it out. See what it will do.
Right.
And now they beg me, can we have the box? Can we have the box?
Yeah.
So, but just letting them have those things to experiment with is so needed.
Yeah. Absolutely. So we have the elementary art show coming up. Well, it's already been installed, so it's available for viewing now. If you just want to tell us a little bit about the art projects that the patrons can come and see this week at the elementary art show.
I have several 3D projects that they used recyclable materials to create. One of them doesn't sound like all that exciting, but it was a white styrofoam cup and they turned it into a snowman. And so you'll see some things like that. We made some Christmas trees out of yarn. I think that you could put them in Home Goods and sell them. I think they're that cute. And they went home thinking that was the best thing that they've ever made. And I had several parents say, yeah, I put that in my Christmas decoration. So you know you've arrived when something can be on the mantle at home in the Christmas decorations. So there'll be some of that. And then, of course, the typical drawings. But I have a lot of 3D work that I think you can see.
We have a lot of drawings. There's some Frida Kahlo inspired art that's there. And just there's clay, and so they've done pinch pots. We had some Native American inspired artwork that will be there. To where there's hidden messages in the art.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So that was really fun to do with them. But and then the winter, like focusing on some red cardinals, and so definitely displaying that.
I don't have anything on display this
Oh,
week.
that's right. Hers wasn't. Yeah. Yeah. And for Sally, I still have the snowman. Sally's my children's art teacher at Forest. And so we got the snowman up, and every year we pull out the Christmas box and we pull out the stuff.
That is awesome.
Fun.
We'll do our final question before we head out, but are there any ways that the community can better support you and our local arts?
This is my favorite question. Yes. I am the queen of asking for donations and using materials that people think that they could just need to be thrown away. I want it. I have a big closet that they call me a hoarder, but that's okay. It's okay. Because people come and I've usually got what they need. So I'm always looking for any type of supplies. These kids will put anything to use. But even more importantly, I would love to have some of the local artists that would want to come in and teach what they do to me and to the kids. So I'm really looking for that kind of support. I would love to have someone call and say, "Hey, I work with clay and I've got this great idea. Come on, let's do it."
Yeah.
So that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Your donations and some time.
I agree with Sally 100%. Having outside artists come in was my first thought. We have a career day in our building every year, and we've got, police officers and all kinds of people that come in and talk about what they do. And I think it would be amazing to have artists come in and show them, I make a living doing this. Like, this is an option for your life. And so it would be amazing to have them come and share their talents and to show the kids that, you may not be the next LeBron James, but you can still do this and be excited and proud of everything that you do.
Yeah, pretty much the same. Just any toilet paper rolls and leftover stuff. I mean, we put those things to use.
Oh yeah.
And we go through a lot of supplies and stuff, and at one school there is a budget, but at the other school there's not a budget. And so it is really helpful. There was a box that was donated the other day that had a bunch of glue sticks in it and glue and markers and pencils, and those things, they're so helpful in the classroom to use. And I would love to have a local artist come in and talk to my students and showing them, what they've done. But I will tell you, Bedford County, I feel like, is amazing at supporting students. And like how the Bauer Center for the Arts, they do the display. And then next month, the downtown Bedford is going to be aligned with students' arts from all over Bedford County that kids are painting and displaying for children, awareness for the Art Month. And so I think Bedford County does an amazing job.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you, ladies, so much for chatting with me this morning. We are always honored to host the Bedford County Public School Arts Show at Bauer, and can't wait to have the families in our community join us for the art reception to recognize those talented students. The Students' Art is available to view at Bauer Center for the Arts starting today and will stay through Saturday, so it's just 1 week. And make sure to come check it out. You definitely don't want to miss it. Bauer is open from Tuesdays to Saturdays from 11 to 3, and admission is always free, so stop on in. We would love to see you. Thank you as always for listening, and we will catch you next week for another Behind the Bauer.